Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé. Before the 90 days, let's watch.
اتفاق ما قبل الزواج هو اتفاق على أنه إذا قمنا
You understand?
Yes, I understand. Why you not trust me?
It happens. People split up. You never know.
Me no different.
Yeah, so on one hand, I get both people. For him, he's like, wait, so you don't trust me? Or when you get married to me, you're leaving this possibility that we'll get divorced? That doesn't feel very good. So, yeah, I can see that point of view. I can also see her point of view where she's like, well, you just never know. And I've been saying this for a long time, that if everyone was completely rational when they got married, prenuptial agreements might not be necessary, but the possibility of breaking up should be in your realm of possibility, because something like 40 to 50% of marriages in the United States end in divorce. So you'd be stupid if you didn't think of that as a possibility. Now, you don't have to dictate your life by that. You don't have to predict that. You can certainly hope that you'll stay together forever, and even surmise that you probably will. But for example, I wonder how many people, if you said, look, I'm going to make you sign this contract, and if you get divorced, then you have to pay me $1 million or something. I think a lot of people, well, I'm curious as to what people would do in that situation. Anyway, so on her side, she's like, well, to be practical, we might break up. Now, the other thing I'll say is I don't know the legality of this, because if they get married and go to the States and they're on some sort of visa that he's a part of, some sort of government agreement, then I don't know if the prenuptial agreement actually applies, because the government will apply. And I believe it's like if you go on government assistance, then she has to pay that back to the government. And I wonder how that works exactly, because there are situations where the government won't really impose that if the individual can't pay it. I think she can, because she's a nurse. But anyway, so, I see both sides. And how do you communicate about this in a way that takes care of each other? Let's see how they do.
You don't know. You may change your mind.
I never initially thought about doing a prenup, but I am concerned that Hamza is not responsible. He lied about his age, and I don't know if he's lying about any other things. And ultimately, I feel like I need to protect myself.
Another way is to date longer so you can get a better idea of how much you can trust him. So, she wants to get married really fast, and I think that promotes or encourages these solutions to have some level of control over the future, which you don't have, particularly when you barely know someone.
لماذا تفكر بهذه الطريقة السيئة؟
Why do you think the bad way?
I don't...
Now, I think, culturally speaking, for him, this could be a much different request. I don't know, but I'm wondering if in his neck of the woods, divorce is at a lot lower rate than they are than the United States. And for him, he's like, why are we even talking about this? Whereas in the States, it's like, it makes some sense to at least consider these things.
I do not think the bad way. I just want to be safe and make sure that my children are protected if you divorce me. Will you sign the contract before we get married? Because if you do not sign the contract, I do not want to marry you.
Wow. That escalated quickly. I thought this was a conversation. So this is interesting. Okay. On one level, maybe she's just like really practical and by the book. And she's like, look, if there's no problem, then there's no problem in signing it. You have some people say that. It's like, if you're not nefarious, then why would you not sign it? Yeah, sure, we'll never get divorced. But if we do, then I just want this protection. For you not to sign it, are you saying that you do want to take my money? So you kind of have that attitude potentially. But to make a threat like that, like if you don't sign this, I'm not going to marry you, is she serious about that? Because I don't think she is. I think she really, really wants to marry him. So there's that. The other thing is, if she is serious, then maybe she could convince us that, look, I am extremely careful about my money. I'm extremely scared of other people taking my money, given my past, and I am not going to take any risks, and so it's a deal breaker, yeah. But if there isn't something like that, then why are you threatening to not marry someone because of this? Now, I could see this being a big deal to you, just like, look, this is a big deal. You know, you could just communicate that and hope that, because he's just hearing about this, I don't think he's ever even heard of a prenup agreement before. At least he seems that he's never even heard of it before. And I wouldn't be surprised if in some areas of the world they don't even have such things, or they're not very common. I don't know about where he's from, but so give him some time, you know, but then to immediately go, I'm not going to marry you, is I don't know if that's very fair of her.
هل ستوقع العقد لأنه إذا لم توقع العقد ولا أعرف ما إذا كان بإمكاني الزواج منك.
Understand?
يا بيبي ورقة بريناب ما عنديش منها في تونس ما عنديش منها أول مرة نسمعها.
According to him, they don't have them, or they're very rare enough that he's never heard of them, and he feels insulted by it. So, yeah, I think that's, you know, a common response, and you should just give them some time to think about it. But I think they're on like a 2-week timeline where she landed, and they need to get married within 2 weeks, and so maybe that's why she's moving so quickly and then making the threat.
But will you sign papers?
اوكي.
Okay.
البلد الأخرانيين مش مرتاحين إنه منفس كل مرة تطلع عليها حاجة جديدة قاعد متخوف بيني وبين روحي.
All right, so he agreed to it, which isn't hard to do from a certain perspective. You're like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll sign it. I mean, it's hurtful, but I'll sign it. Yeah, I'm not marrying you for your possessions, so if this will help you to trust me, then yeah, sure, I don't mind.
Why are you not happy?
بعد ما أخذت منفس الورقة برانسيبي إن نكون فرحين. هنتني حسستني أنا ضعيف معناها. واللحظة هذيك قاتلنا.
All right, so to catch people up, they talked about a prenuptial agreement, and they're going to get married soon. And in the conversation there, she's saying, I want things to be 50-50. How are we going to pay for the wedding? I don't want to pay 100% for the wedding. I want you to pay for half the wedding. And he's, you know, there's a language barrier, but he's also saying, you know, it kind of hurts my feelings. It makes me sad, makes me humiliated. So I don't know, but it sounds like he isn't rolling in money and doesn't have a really firm career, and maybe also understands that whatever career he does have doesn't really translate into careers in the United States. So it's something to think of. You know, there are people who will be fully fledged lawyers or doctors or whatever in another country. They come to the States, and because of the way the system is, they have to, it's not because they don't know their stuff, it's because they don't have the proper, you know, accredited university that's in the United States system. So even if you do have a viable skill set, sometimes you basically have to start over from scratch. And so I don't know where he's coming from, but anyway, he feels bad. And so let's see how they talk about it. I think the best thing he could say in this moment is, honey, I totally plan on doing 50-50. In fact, I wouldn't be opposed to me paying for everything. But I'm younger. I think he's younger than she is. I'm not sure. It's going to take me a while to get on my feet, but I'm dedicated. I'm determined, and I'm going to make it work. And I've already been looking into some things. But right now, I don't really have the kind of money that you do, and I really want a great wedding. And so it makes me feel really bad, maybe feel bad as a man, bad as a partner. But because I'm guessing if he was rolling in money right now and had this wonderful career, he would just turn to her and be like, yeah, 50-50, absolutely, I'm going to pay for everything. But I think he knows he's not really at that stage yet. So I think he could do well by saying something like that. Instead, I think what he's trying to do is just like, I don't want to talk about it, which is the case with a lot of people. And there's also a cultural element here, and I don't know about in Tunisia, but in some cultures, even in the United States, you don't challenge men about money. There's a sexist, paternalistic attitude with men about, look, little lady, I'll take care of it. I'm in control. And it's a way of masking your own insecurity instead of having to reveal that you're not doing so well, and that would humiliate you. And if you buy into toxic masculinity, you can never have that kind of feeling. You just control and you say, look, that's my domain, shut up. So I don't know. The other aspect is you could, coming from that particular side of culture, feel like, wait, why is this woman questioning me about my money? Like, that's not her place. She should respect my manhood and let me handle it, that kind of thing. Even though I don't think he can, because I don't think he's at a place career-wise where that's possible, but I'm not sure.
قبل خمم قلت ذي حمزة تحدي معي سر عمرك مثل مع عمرك كامل معناها ومع إنسانة معناها تجي بتغدر بيك أنا خايف من هذا معناها.
Well, that's too bad. So he's interpreting it like she's so hurtful. I think she's just extremely pragmatic. She's a very pragmatic person, which, personally I could relate to. So I get that. And I think for her, Memphis, she's thinking, I don't want this to be a situation where he's mooching off me. That's going to make me feel really bad. And so I'm going to get out ahead of that by having all these verbal agreements in advance so that when and if the time comes, I could say, you agreed that you're going to do 50-50. So, but I think he's having a hard time having those conversations, which I don't know if this is a cultural thing, because I would think you should be able to handle that kind of conversation as an adult. You should be able to be like, okay, let's talk about finances. Okay, 50-50. Yeah, here's my path. I can't do that right now, but I want to. And here are 5 options that I have of it. They just, at least on camera, they never have those conversations. It's always just like these surface level conversations. All right, I want to thank y'all for liking and subscribing. It's super cool of you. I look at those numbers about every other day, and because I'm always curious, do people like what I'm doing? And it's nice when people indicate that, but only if you want to. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.